Well, hello, Glue Troopers, and welcome to Max's Models. I'm doing some editing to release a more straight up version of the reading of that book, Exploring Space. And also, I got out to the Tarvis Day, got some work done. I finally got those very tricky antennas, the brass parts on the USS Arizona. And that's been the trickiest thing so far. All the plastic parts fit really easy. It's as usual, it's the photo etch that makes it tricky. And also, I got an opportunity to do a little experiment with Tamiya Surface Primer and Mr. Surfacer 1000. Now, the Tamiya goes on thinner, and of course, it has I wouldn't say glossier finish, maybe you could call it smoother finish. And it's great for finishing off something that you want to have a smooth texture. Of course, the 1000 Surfacer, which can be sanded down, polished down if you want, is better at filling seams. And I use it on the DC-8 and the Airbus 320. Both of them look a lot better now that I put the Mr. Surfacer 1000 on it, because they did have the seams have been puttied in, but there were still some depressions and things that were showing, and I sanded and puttied 2 or 3 times, and they were okay. I mean, I could have gone ahead and hit it with white paint, but this is an experiment, so I went ahead and put the 2 coats of Mr. Surfacer on, and it really made them look better. Had just enough white left to put some test coats on there, and I'm very happy with the results. These airliners should look really good when I'm done. I also, by the way, used some of that Mr. Surfacer on the Skyhawk, which had already been primed, and it filled in micro-filled in a few of the gaps a little bit. It's not a cure-all, it's not a silver bullet, but it's nice. And that Skyhawk may be salvageable now, and I'm really happy with the stuff. Of course, if you say you want a slicker, smoother surface, you probably want to go with something like the Tamiya primer, but or Surface Prep. But together they make a pretty good team. Right tool for the job. I'll probably be buying a lot more of that Mr. Surfacer. I have heard that there are things you can buy at auto body shops in bigger cans. It's basically the same stuff, even thinner, but I'm not really sure about that. I have used cheap auto body primer on large models before, and it worked okay. This stuff, I really, for something that came out of a rattle can, I'm very happy with the results. Of course, you guys know you can also buy the stuff in small bottles and thin it. By the way, I also finally got to use some of that Humbrol flesh tone, and I'm real happy with it as well. It's definitely better than the other paints I've used, at least the flesh tone. So I know a lot of big Humbrol fans out there, and I can understand why. It's the first time I actually used a Humbrol paint. So I got on the Skyraider. Was in here, got motivated, and got one of the Skyraiders started, the old Revell kit. And I decided, I figured, let's all got it out. Let's do a comparison with the parts to the Tamiya kit. And immediately I noticed there were different sizes, and I was like, well, that's interesting. The old Revell kit, which by the way has a lot of moving parts on it, a very complex kit. I was kind of surprised. It's got about 6 major runner trees and tons of components inside. Pretty complicated booklet instructions. This kit came out at about 65. Turns out it is a 1:40 scale, not the 1:48, so that was interesting. And I would add to this old Revell kit, the parts that I have put together just test fitting, I couldn't get apart again. This thing has almost been a snap-tight kit. So I just used the ultra-thin Tamiya glue to go in and soak into the seams. But it very snug fit. There is some flash on it, typical kits from the 60s. I haven't had to shave anything down, just sand off a little flash here and there. But I've been able to get the parts fit without shaving them. But you got to be careful, because I'm sure it'd be easy to break something. But it is a pretty impressive kit, decent molding. The Tamiya kit, newer mold and everything, a little smaller, arguably maybe a little more detailed, or details show better. But both kits, pretty impressive. I'll let you know once I get going on this thing how it turns out. But this was interesting. I didn't even realize it was a 1:40, and that adds a new dimension to it. So with all the moving, I might see if I can make the parts move. It's got removable cowlings, folding wings, retractable landing gear, all kinds of stuff. And it looks fairly complicated, so that might make an interesting challenge. It even tells you to lubricate certain parts, so time to go break out the old 3-in-1 oil. And that's pretty impressive for a plastic kit from the 1960s. I'm assuming this is a pretty high-dollar kit in its day. And so on the Captain Kirk figurine, I went ahead and tried some of the Mr. Surfacer on the upper torso, and Looks good. What I did was, since I want the face and hair to have a different texture, I used the Tamiya Surface Primer on the face, and then the 1000 Mr. Surfacer on the hair. So hopefully that'll help give slightly different textures. And by the way, anybody know what the proper color for Kirk's gold tunic is? I know it's not actual gold. It's kind of a goldish yellow. I'm not really sure what colors to mix to make that. I'm going to have to look online for that. So I got a little bit of everything done. Spent the time of the evening out here in the Tarbis and got a little work done on the Arizona, the Skyraider, the airliners, the Kirk figure, and the Skyhawk. And that's pretty productive. Not bad. I meant to bring the catapult out here today and give it a coat of prime. But before I do that, I need to get online and find out where some of those bits and bobs on it go. So that one thing you pretty much, unless you're going to mount it on a big base plate, you pretty much have to put the model airplane in the middle, because if you put it on the end, it will tip. Okay, that's where we're at for today. Guys, hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. And as always, model on.